Namaste, guys. I am Dr. Anushruti and I am back again with a sporty episode. Yes, sporty episode because today's guest is someone who is going to discuss a lot about pediatric sports physical therapy. Well, without wasting much time, on board today I have Dr. Bethany Cook, who is a physical therapist by profession, is a gorgeous woman, and specializes in pediatric sports. She is joining us live directly from USA. Hello, Dr. Bethany, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, my question to you is how is pediatric sports physical therapy is different from the general physical therapy?
Um, it's not too much different, but there's definitely way more of a focus on, I guess, strengthening and motor control and coordination because the younger the athletes, the more they're still developing. So you really want to help them lock in great movement patterns so that as they get stronger and as they play their sport, they're not putting themselves at their own risk for injury.
Okay, and why did you choose this field? I mean, can I say that Dr. Bethany loves to be around kids?
Maybe high schoolers, not all kids.
Okay,
um,
okay.
but I love it. I've worked all levels. I've worked the college level, the professional level, and then high school sports. And high school by far is my favorite. I just think that they're at such a great age to really learn how to
You
take
know,
care of their
that
bodies.
kind of people, they have a different energy in them. Like the
Yeah,
population over in high schoolers, I believe like it's being with them, it feels like we are back in our time. And they have a
right.
different type of enthusiasm. Like they're overexcited, over energized, and never tired for anything. Planning, fighting, winning, losing, everything is like the part and parcel of their life.
It really is. And they heal faster. Their bodies are amazing compared to adults.
Absolutely, yeah. So, okay, now as you told me, you have, you love working with high schoolers. So, my question to you is like, we have different kind of kids. We have different kind of high school kids. We have different kind of middle school kids. How do you actually approach them for treatment or strength training? Like what are your approaches? Because when we compare them to normal athletes, we have seen that they have different type of tantrums, and some of them are moody, some of them are naughty. So what is Dr. Bethany's approach to treat them?
Um, I think it's different with every single individual, the same as it would be with adults, where different things motivate them. Some of them maybe I'm only going to get 3 exercises from, and then others are very responsible and they're constantly be asking me, like, hey, what can I do to get better? So I kind of work within what they give me and then go from there.
Okay, and have you encountered, any of the patient or any of an athlete or sports person who have had asthma? Like asthma kids are there, I believe. And so what is your approach to make them suitable and comfortable in that sports? Like if someone is into cricket, if someone is into badminton, how do you make them fit for that sports?
So with kids, a lot of it is very general, at least as far as strengthening goes, and just learning to really work through like their full range of motion, things like that. I work specifically with a lot of football players. So as they progress through rehab, a lot of the focus is on like how can we build their bodies to be strong and have like the power and the demands of their sport and their position.
Okay, and I have heard about one thing from other sports physical therapists, not specifically into pediatric sports, but the thing is that they have seen a lot of cartilage tears, in their patients. Is it also common in the pediatric population?
Not as common.
Not as common. So, what are some of the common injuries you feel like, be it any sport or be it any strength training type of program, but the injuries are common around them?
I'd say a lot of it comes from repetition. especially in youth, because at least in the US, kids are now specializing in one sport very early. And because of it, they're going through the same motions, their body, it's just a constant repetition of the way it's moving, and they don't have the benefit of moving differently and getting stronger in different planes of motion, as where maybe like 10 years ago, kids would play three different sports and they wouldn't specialize until it was time to really go to college.
Also, yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. Also, I have, it's like a very exciting topic to discuss pediatric sports therapy. So what actually is an extensive training program designed for them?
It would depend on their sport and their position. Like a youth pitcher is going to have a wildly different program to keep them in good health than one of my football players.
Okay, well, with this, Dr. Bethany, I would like to introduce you to one of the best segments of my show, which is answering the question of my followers and patients. So, is Dr. Bethany ready to answer them?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, well, the first question comes from Neena Pandey from Uttar Pradesh. Hello, Dr. Bethany, how are you? My kid is beginner in judo classes. What precautions should I and he keep in mind while training? We have no idea about sports till now.
I'd say when they're young, keeping them in sports is great. Let them be in multiple different sports. If she wants to take him to a physical therapist, she can always have his body screened to see if there are any areas that are more at a risk of injury or a deficit where he can strengthen specifically while he stays in judo.
Okay, so Neena ji, I believe your question is answered. Then we have Kanishka Prakash from Jaipur. She says, my younger sister is an athlete. Kudos to you, Kanishka. She is a tennis player. Her shoulder always have pain. What should we do about it? We did consult a physical therapist. He said it was normal because of sports, but it is becoming quite often and regular these days.
Pain isn't normal. Pain isn't normal, especially in sports. I would say go to another physical therapist who is used to working with athletes, even if it's higher level athletes, and that way they can get her on a good program and also monitor her actual volume within the sport.
Also, a good physical therapist, by which we mean Dr. Bethany Cook. Okay, moving ahead. We have Mukesh Mehra from Lucknow. He says, my kid is in fifth grade. He is into skating. He wears safety kit and everything, but he often complains about pain in ankle and foot. We know we can understand it is because of skating rink and its skating kit, but why does it happen so much?
He may just be weak, as in weak for the sport. He may just need to strengthen his feet and his ankles.
Okay. Next, we have Seema Gupta from Kerala. She says, my boy of fifth grade actually wants to be a sports person in future. Even we have had sent him to a lot of sports academies, but somehow he isn't fit for them. His stamina, I believe, is very low. We do give him protein, fish, egg, everything. But what should we do exactly, or what should be a diet plan for a fifth grade student to become a sports person? So basically, it's about stamina.
I would take him to a physician if he hasn't gotten checked out, just to make sure there's no underlying cause. And then if there's not, get him in with someone who can prescribe him the correct exercise program to increase his stamina.
Okay. Then we have Manveer Pandey from New Delhi. Have you heard about New Delhi? Okay, New Delhi is the
No.
capital of India. Also, have you ever been to India?
Okay.
Like, did you?
I have not.
Are you planning to come to India? Like, it's a beautiful country. You should definitely, and I'll be, very much happy to be your host. You should definitely come to this country.
I would love to.
Most welcome. Well, then we have Manveer from New Delhi. He says, I am a runner. I am in my 12th grade, but I believe somehow because of my studies, I am not concentrating on my training program. Can I increase my food intake and glucose intake to build my stamina rather than going to a training program? So he feels that training, the extensive training program on field, strength training can be replaced by a good high protein and high energized diet.
I don't think it can be replaced. I think it would be great to have his diet checked so that he can actually coordinate the two together. But as far as replacing it, you can't replace, the physical aspect with diet.
Okay, well, with this, we are done with the questions of my followers. Dr. Bethany, I know you would have come across one fact which is quite common here in India, that kids do not like milk. So, a lot of mothers are here in my podcast who are listening and watching this video on various platforms. And I know that they have this question in the mind, that why isn't their kid actually drinking milk? We do know that there is a problem, like people often are not actually suitable for drinking milk. We can understand, but we do have a lot of kids who throw tantrums while drinking milk. So what is Dr. Bethany's pediatric sports physical therapist message to all the kids out there who are listening? How much is a glass of milk important for them?
It depends. If you're obeying your parents, I think you should drink it. But as far as your health goes, I think there's many other substitutes where you can get the same sources of what you need in terms of nutrients that aren't from a glass of milk.
Okay. Also, my question to you is, what has been your biggest and the best episode? I mean, the best treatment or the best time of your career in this category, pediatric? Like, what was that particular case or particular game, or a particular team you have enjoyed with, that you believe that was that reminded you that you chose the best field out there?
I think recently at the beginning of this month, I was able to take two of my high school football players out to another city in Florida to see their cousin play in his very first bowl game, which is huge for college football. And he used to be one of my high school athletes. So to be able to follow him and see him play at that level and then take his younger cousins out to also witness that so they can see their future, that's by far the best thing that I've ever done.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's totally the best thing. And all these things actually gives goosebumps to you at that particular time, that this is so beautiful and mesmerizing. Like, yeah, so soothing. Also, Dr. Bethany, another question comes on your way, is that how is a sports physical therapist, while being with a team on the field, should be attentive towards their goal? Like, I do have seen a lot of physical therapists who are very new to this work, their career. What they often do is they get included, they get indulged in the game itself, like they're enjoying as an audience. So what is your message to those young doctors out there, that how much attentiveness matters over here?
It's everything. If you're on the sidelines, you need to know what's going on in the field at all times. Even if you have an athlete come off injured, a lot of the times, if my focus is on that athlete, I'm telling them, hey, I need you to be my eyes on the field and let me know what's happening.
Okay, I believe this is going to work from them, because I have seen a lot of new doctors, aspiring doctors. They choose this sports field because that looks very exciting and very enthusiastic, energetic, and they believe we get to travel a lot from here to there, to this country, to this state. But they always forget the main thing. They have been there, they have been appointed over there. But yes, your piece of advice is going to work from them. Coming to a very integral part of being a physical therapist, especially in sports, while big with kids, you know you would have come across surgeries, and fractures, minor fracture, major
Mm-hmm.
fractures, whatever. But at that point of time, when you have to console that kid, that he cannot play in a particular tournament, he cannot be a part of a particular game, he cannot be a leading part of that particular match. So what does your emotional, mental, and consolidated support means to them? Like, what is your approach at that time? Because I believe that is too much sensitive kind of thing, because kids are actually very emotional in this time, and I believe that is going to be a
Right.
very hard work to actually let them know, and this cannot be done by their parents. I believe only you can
Right.
do this.
It's tough. Um, it's tough to tell an athlete of any level if they can't compete or they need to take time off to rehab from their sport. But I feel a direct approach and just being very honest with them about, like, hey, I'm not telling you no without reason. Like, this is the reason why. So they have context to the no. And with kids, especially, most of them, they want to use sports as a vehicle to a better future. So for me, I'm trying to keep them in the game as much as I can. And for whatever reason, if I have to pull them or they're not able to play for a certain amount of time, I'm letting them know this is the best thing you can do for your body so that you can make it in college, so that you can make it and become a professional athlete. Just so they have an idea that it's not a straight no, because it's going to hurt regardless. But this way they know, like, this is what I have to do. I can put my focus to my rehab and then I can come back stronger than I was before.
I believe being true at that particular time is more good than, better than being sympathizing and then telling lies, then a flaws of
Right.
lies. So, yeah, that's true. Be true on the face. Okay. So, Dr. Bethany, last but not the least, what will be Dr. Bethany's three top advices for all the kids, all my high school students, athletes listening to you right now?
Um, that's a good question. I'd say top three are, number one would be know that your body is your vehicle. So playing your sport isn't going to get you to the next level if your body is not healthy, because without good health, you can't play your sport. So learn to start shifting your mindset on prioritizing your health so that you can stay strong in your sport. Number two is going to be that injuries are never convenient. So you may think you're invincible, but realistically, you're probably going to get injured at some point in your career and it's never going to come at a good time. So the faster that you can mentally acknowledge that and keep moving and learn what empowers you, that's going to keep you in your sport and recovering better. And then I guess as a third one, to realize that the mental and emotional aspects of life really do play in the physical healing. So don't be afraid to tell, your physical therapist or your athletic trainer, whoever you're working with, if you trust them, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, because that's the person who's going to be able to help you just make sense of the craziness of an injury. And then, keep your mind right, keep your feelings right, and then keep moving forward physically to heal.
Well, I'm very sure that these kids are going to hear this audio on various platforms and listen to watch the video on various platforms on loop, because this is what they want to hear. This is not about science, this is not about body, but about sports. And we know how much interested they are into sports. Well, with this, we have come to an end of the episode. Thank you so much, Dr. Bethany, for taking out time from your schedule to join in. And I believe that you had a very sporty and rocking time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Thank you. Also, all my dear young kids, trainers, athletes, this is your reminder to straighten your back, take care of your body, and do not miss your training sessions. Also, consult a great doctor like Dr. Bethany nearby you for generalized and specific treatment plans. With this, take care. We'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.